Good morning, everybody, and this is your Forex day trade setups for today. So, first things first, we broke a trend line and pretty much had a pin bar, and then we're busy with an engulfing bar at the moment. So, it did come up into an area we were looking for, but unfortunately, it did get above that area as well. So, a little bit of confusion. So you can see here, here's the level that we were looking for. We kept getting above it. We were rejecting it quite nicely and didn't really get going. So you can see just one bar, or basically two bars that pulled back off that. For me at the moment, this is a range, and you can see how we've come back onto the moving average here. Moving averages are still pointing to the downside. It is still indicating we're in a downward trend. So the only time that we should really start looking for longs is a break above 119.053. At the moment, this is going sideways. It's sit and wait. If we just go down to 15-minute, you'll see we have a move above the moving averages. We tested it a second time, third time, and then we failed. So my opinion right here, just wait, see what happens in the European session. If this break holds, in other words, it's not really a decent break at the moment, but we need to sort of move down, come back and test this area here where we are now at 118.819. Then I would expect a move to the downside. Just checking that there's no little gaps here. Doesn't look like so right now I think what you're looking at here is a potential trend reversal, but there is also potential for a continuation to the downside, and ultimately we are in a range, so that means money in pocket, wait for a break of the range either way. US dollar, Japanese yen, we did have a bit of a retracement onto level, got below that level, so no trigger there for a continuation to the upside. You can see that close below it would basically imply that you're not looking for a move to the downside. We did get a lower high, but at the moment you can see we are kind of rallying again. So, and all things considered, I'm really not interested here at the moment. So the trend's been trending nicely to the upside. Haven't really got many opportunities to get in on this because there's been no structure, and now we're continuing that vein. We are now breaking all sorts of structure at the moment. So the one bit of structure that is here is this wedge. But obviously I want to see a pullback down here, back onto this area more than likely, which is 108.646. If we can hold that and we start moving to the upside, then let's get back on and move with the trend to the upside. So there's no reason to be shorting this just quite yet. British pound, Japanese yen. This is starting to look a little bit dangerous. This is a wedge forming, so this trend line down here is the bottom of the wedge, and it doesn't matter which way you put it, that would be the channel, or alternatively that would be the wedge. Doesn't really matter which way you look at it. It is a form of consolidation to the upside. So look at my oscillators as well. This is indicating we need to be paying attention to the levels because there is a potential for something to happen. Now we've got a double top yesterday on the hour, you can see that, and if I just use this level here, that's the neckline of the double top. We did close below it, so there is a possibility to move to the downside, but the trend is up. So I'm not one that tries to go against the trend, and at the moment that short would be against the trend. So if we do get to the downside, I think this is the level we're looking at, and that would be bottom of the bottom trend line, or it would also be this breakout retest here, 153.86. So if we do move to the downside, that's kind of the move I'm looking for, more than likely the double top target as well, and that would be an area for me to get long again. So that's British pound, Japanese yen, Aussie dollar, US dollar. So we're back in this area of confusion. If you look to the left, and for as long as we're in this area, I'm really not interested in trading this pair at all. So buyer stepping in off the bottom here, but you can see we are flirting with the 8-hour 155 EMA. So at the moment, until we recapture that or reject it properly, I am sitting on the sideline. So that is what indicates what my trend is. At the moment, the trend is down, but we are above and below the moving averages right now. Look at my oscillators moving to the downside. Good possibility for some diversions that's going to form here as well. So in other words, this drops a little bit further, drop below this previous level here. That was 13.36. This one is 12.36, so it's already lower than the previous low, whereas price is a higher low. So very typical of what happens when you're breaking through structure. And the structure that I'm referring to has moving averages. You can see we're very violent up and down, lots of volatility around the moving averages. You can see pretty similar situation there. But that one failed and we continued down rather than moving up. So now we got the same situation brewing at the moment. The moving averages will come closer together and we'll keep going up and below, above and below the moving averages, and eventually we're going to break one way or another. So at the moment it is looking like continuation to the upside. So that's $3 pairs and 2 out of 3 pointing in the same direction, which is not too shabby. But anyway, I think for me at the moment, I need to wait for some confirmation here before jumping in on that. Euro British pound. British pound is still very strong. So you can see, this move to the downside is still happening. I am still concerned with this grouping of the oscillators at the moment, plus the sort of a double bottom setup that is forming. But the trend is down, and you can see that's fairly clear. We're having some pretty big swings up, but all that's doing is just providing opportunities for you to sell into. Now, there's something here that has happened that hasn't happened in quite some time on Forex. So you can see this inside tail there. It's always we refer to it as a gap, but basically it's a breakout. So that was where price got to. Buyer stepped in on that level, came up, the hour bar closed there, then we accelerated up, but then we came past it. We broke past that low on the hour bar, and then we didn't go up to test it. So typically what happens, if you can see this structure here, you can see we break below, we close below there, and then price comes back to test it. And same thing happened here, back to test it. And then this one here, similar scenario, except just a little bit past it. But point I'm getting at is that is a very good structured downtrend, this one here. So when you look at this, that's not a very good structured downtrend. That inside bar is always going to be tested somewhere along the lines, and that's exactly what has transpired. Okay, a little bit of information for you there. So I still suspect we are moving to the downside, but obviously want to wait for the open and see what transpires. Yesterday was very volatile, big up, big down, big confusion. Look at my oscillators here. So for me, I would basically be looking at any range break to the downside, stop above there, and I'm looking for the measured move, and the measured move is going to be this previous leg over here, like that. And what I would also do is just get back onto the 8 hour and just see, okay, there is a tail here that we haven't tagged, and just look to the left to see if there is anything. Okay, there's a previous swing high here, so that is a fairly good setup. That is kind of what I'd be looking for. Just get to the 15 because this is looking really interesting. You can see we're still below the 155 and the 15, so that's definitely the trade that I'm looking for today on Forex. So we're looking for a break below 0.85629. Our stop is going to be up here, so it's 108 point stop loss, and we are looking for pretty much a 260 point move to the downside. So a nice 2.6 to 1 risk to reward. That's a pretty decent trade. So that's Euro British pound. British pound New Zealand dollar. So this week has been pretty much up and down, So we did get a decent move up. We had a pretty big pullback yesterday, and I think we got onto structure. Well, not the structure I was looking for. Nope. So lots of confusion here. The pullback was pretty much down to this area here. So 193488. What's worrying me about this at the moment is that's looking like a flat bottom triangle, not really looking like a move to the upside. So we need to get above the swing high, at least the swing high of yesterday. But this big up, big down at sideways, it typically keeps me out of the market, and that's exactly what I'm going to be doing with British pound, New Zealand dollar. Just stay far away from it. Okay, so quick recap. Aussie dollar, US dollar looking fairly interesting. US dollar, Japanese yen looking fairly interesting. And euro, British pound is really looking interesting. So those are the three that I am looking at the moment. As for the rest of them, I will just keep them on the watch list and watch what happens. Anyway, hope it helps, and we'll catch up with you later. Cheers for now.